Hey, welcome back. I'm really glad you stopped by tonight. Come on in, get comfortable, pull the blanket up a little if you're cold, set your phone down if you want to, or don't. There really aren't any rules here. The only thing I ask is that, for a little while, you stop treating this moment like another task you have to complete. It's late, and if you're anything like me, your brain has probably decided that now, of all times, is the perfect opportunity to review your entire life. Every awkward conversation, every unfinished goal, every decision you're still questioning, every little thing that suddenly feels incredibly important because it's quiet. Funny how that works. The world gets quieter, and somehow our thoughts get louder. I've always thought the human brain has such terrible timing. At 2 in the afternoon, it forgets where you left your water bottle. At 2 in the morning, it suddenly wants to debate every decision you've made since middle school. Not exactly helpful. Sometimes I wonder if we're acquainted with the quiet. I get a little tongue tied. Or if we're afraid of the quiet. Not because silence is uncomfortable, but because silence leaves room for thoughts we've been outrunning all day. And we're working, or scrolling, or talking, or watching something. There's always another thing pulling our attention away. And then night arrives. Everything slows down. And suddenly, there's nowhere left to run except into our own heads. I don't think that's a bad thing. I just don't think we have to believe every thought that shows up. Because not every late night thought is a wise thought. Some of them are just tired. Have you ever noticed how different a problem feels depending on the time of the day? Something can seem absolutely impossible at 11:30 at night, and then, after some sleep, it's just annoying. Still a problem, just not the end of the world anymore. It's one of the reasons I think sleep is incredibly underrated. Not because it magically fixes everything, but because it gives your brain permission to stop staring at the same wall. Sometimes you don't need another hour of thinking. You need 8 hours of not thinking. I know that's easier said than done. If it were that simple, none of us would lie awake replaying conversations from 3 years ago. Can I tell you something I've been trying to remind myself lately? You don't have to solve your entire future before you fall asleep. Really, you don't. You don't have to figure out your career tonight, or your relationships, or your purpose, or whether you're making all the right decisions. Those things will still be there tomorrow. And oddly enough, tomorrow's version of you is usually better equipped to deal with them. We put so much pressure on ourselves to have answers immediately, as if uncertainty is some kind of personal failure. But when did we decide that? Who made that rule? Life isn't a multiple choice test. There's no answer sheet hidden in the back. Most people are figuring it out one day at a time. Some are just better at pretending they already know. I think that's comforting. Not because nobody knows what they're doing, but because it means you're not behind. You're just human. Maybe you've been carrying around this feeling that you should have accomplished more by now. Maybe you thought you'd be somewhere different, different job, different city, different relationship, different version of yourself. I get it. We all create timelines in our heads, little invisible deadlines. I'll have this figured out by 25. I'll feel confident by 30. I'll finally stop doubting myself someday. And then life kind of laughs. Not in a cruel way, just in the way life does. Because it almost never follows the schedule we imagined. But that doesn't mean you failed. It just means life is unfolding differently than the picture you drew. Pictures are allowed to change. Sometimes I think we're grieving expectations more than reality itself. Reality might be okay. It's the imaginary version we keep comparing it to that hurts. Imagine if you stopped comparing today's life to the version that you only ever saw existing in your imagination. What would you notice instead? Maybe you'd noticed that you've actually built something. Maybe not everything you wanted, but something. Friendships, skills, stories, memories, strength. A sense of humor you didn't have before. Patience you had to earn. You've collected so many things that aren't easy to measure. And I think those count. Maybe even more than the milestones people post online. Because nobody uploads a picture of themselves becoming more resilient. Nobody announces, good news, I handled this appointment a little better today. But that's growth too. Quiet growth. It's the kind that changes your life without asking for attention. I hope when you wake up tomorrow, you remember that you don't have to carry every question all at once. Just today's. Tomorrow can carry tomorrow's. For now, your job is much smaller than you've been telling yourself. Breathe, rest, drink some water if you forgot. Let your shoulders relax a little. Let your jaw unclench. Let your mind know. Let it know that it's allowed to clock out, even just for tonight. The world doesn't become easier because you stayed awake worrying about it. You deserve rest, not because everything is finished, but because you're tired. And tired people deserve sleep. Thank you for spending another quiet night here with me. I hope wherever you are, you find a little bit of peace before you drift off. Your problems don't have to disappear tonight. They just don't have to keep you company until morning. Sleep well. I'll be here again tomorrow night. Good night. And remember, for more exclusive audios, you can visit my Patreon.